What's going on, everybody? It's Clifton Pope with Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, and you're tuned into a very special edition of the HFWB podcast series, where information is the new money. And my entrepreneurs and business owners can relate to this, those profit and loss statements. We got to keep track of the income that's being generated and the revenue that's coming in and the expenses that are going out on a regular basis to keep your business operating and your entrepreneurship journey afloat. Which is why we got to show love to those accountants, y'all, because they help keep all those things in order. Which is why yours truly, Clifton Pope with Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, currently recommends Strong Elm Business Solutions. I'm telling you, are you ready to elevate your business? Check out Strong Elm Business Solutions, your partner in growth and success. They specialize in tailored strategies that drive results, y'all, whether it's enhancing your chart of accounts, optimizing workflows, or providing top-notch business advice. Man, that came in handy for me getting my overall finances in order because Strong Elm Business Solutions are dedicated to empowering small and medium-sized enterprises with the tools they need to thrive in today's competitive market. From startup budgets to payroll and bookkeeping, Strong Elm Business Solutions are here to help. I'm telling you. Visit Strong Elm Business Solutions at strongelm.com and discover why they can help you achieve your business goals. Strong Elm Business Solutions are empowering strong clients for a stronger future. Yours truly, Clifton Pope with Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, will definitely attest to that, which is why you need to visit strongelm.com and give Strong Elm Business Solutions a call at 361-944-0122. That's 361-944-0122. You won't be disappointed on that. My name is Clifton Pope with Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, and I approve this message. Y'all stay healthy, wealthy, and blessed. And until next time, peace, love, and positive vibrations. All right, all right. What is going on, everybody? If you don't know, now you do know. You're officially tuned into a very special edition of the HFWB podcast series. This is your host, Clifton Pope, and with me today, I have a very special guest and a very good friend of mine. And here's the reason why we're such great friends to a certain degree, because we share the same common bond as far as just enjoying teaching holistic skills to help daily stress, whether it's within the mind, whether it's within the body, whether it's in the overall spirit. That's pretty much what this is all about. And if you've been listening to the Wellness Whisperer series that I've been doing on the HFWB podcast series, this conversation is definitely going to make everything that I've been talking about come into sense, make more sense rather, because it pays off who you know and who you're connected to at the end of the day. But with that being said, the person who I'm about to bring on to this episode of the HFWB podcast series, she's all about her education. She's all about being a full-blown scholar. She's all about, the counseling world, with her being a former professional counselor. She's an advocate for sound healing. She is also a private practice owner, the CEO of Bound to Rize LLC. For all the people here in Corpus Christi, Texas, who haven't heard about it, you're about to hear more about it now. Oh, and she would be also a little bit disappointed if I didn't mention this. She's also a member of the Corpus Christi Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated as well. So that's how you know she comes with her ranks within itself. But with that being said, I would love to welcome the lovely Dr. Renita Newton to the HFWB podcast series. Ree, how are things going on this terrific Tuesday, I might add?
Things are going quite well. Thank you so much, first of all, for this opportunity. I know we've been talking for quite a while, just trying to make things happen. So I am super excited to be here and ready to get going with it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like I always say all the time, Bree. It's like timing is everything. If the timing isn't right, it's not going to work out every single time. So I'm glad that you took in time out of your productive schedule to simply bless us with an appearance on the HFWB podcast series. But let's talk about your overall journey. Like, what led you as far as on the path of just taking this holistic journey within your own right to where you've been able to bless people day by day, step by step with everything that you're currently doing. For those who are listening to the HFWB podcast series, give them a little bit of your background, Ree.
Okay, thank you, and great question. So, growing up, I'm going to start with some childhood stuff and then just kind of walk all the way up to this point today. Growing up, culturally, for one, it's the culture of, you don't feel your feelings, you suck it up, you keep it moving. There's no time for you to pause and like, let's say, hey, wait a minute, I actually think I'm feeling anxious, or I think I'm feeling, depressed, or I think I'm, a bit sad right now. Um,
Right.
there's no time for that. And so for me, I come from the background of work hard, work even harder, um, don't cry, don't show emotions. And it wasn't until I grew up, started learning more about myself, where I realized I am actually hypersensitive. I feel deeply. I'm an empath. And so I would always wonder, like, well, what's wrong with crying, or what's wrong with, being able to express these feelings or emotions that as a child I would be feeling. And so that was just a bit of it there, just really kind of in this childhood era, not being able to have that freedom or the ability to express. And then going through grief and loss a little bit later in life, losing my mom at 14.
Mm,
That was very difficult. Being in an environment where it was a lot of trauma. My dad was incarcerated. And so, just going back to those moments also, just really realizing, like, hey, this is trauma. I didn't know what that was.
mm-hmm,
Um, this is grief, this is loss. These are significant life events that are now, as a teen, from a child to a teen, now shaping my personality, shaping my behavior, shaping me as a person, how I see the world, how I engage with the world and people in it. And so, really throwing myself into school was how I began to cope with things and just being
mm,
eager to always learn. Um, Being eager to just always get involved, whether it was extracurricular activities, staying after school for beta club meetings, French club meetings, selling programs at football games, just really trying to find an outlet, and not really knowing that all along I was searching for what I know now also, coping skills, coping strategies, things that would help me to deal with the stress, the grief, the anxiety, the depression, the sadness. Like, I needed a way to feel those things and a way to have an outlet for that.
mm-hmm.
I didn't know that, that's what I was searching for. So fast forward, I'm in school for the past 13 years, really, and so we get to this point today, just graduating a year ago almost with my doctorate degree. I'm done with school, a 13-year journey of just putting myself through high school, college, my master's, my doctorate, and then learning along the way, coping, healthy coping, boundaries, what that looks like, what that means for me. Um, and then just really getting excited about mindfulness. And that wasn't until my master's program. College, undergrad is a bit of a blur. I was a bit in survival mode throughout these past 13 years. And so, really, once I get to my master's program, I learned about the term mindfulness, and that just changes my entire perspective on how I started approaching my life, how I began to start moving throughout my day more intentionally, giving myself permission to pause, to breathe deeper. And then through that, a few years into it, I would discover sound. And then that was the thing that started to really pique my interest in there's more to this meditation practice that I could do to help me cope. Mindfulness was that thing. And then in addition to that, sound started to come. So it's been a long journey towards it. Um,
No, I can imagine how much of the everything that you went through. I mean, losing your mom when you were 14 years old, your dad basically being incarcerated as you described, Ree. It's like you've been literally like been dealing with obstacle after obstacle, difficulty after difficulty, challenges being thrown in front of you on a regular basis to where you literally used your educational path and journey as a great scapegoat,
yeah,
and look at where it got you. You went from trying to find yourself to literally educating yourself and just seeking that information, seeking that knowledge. And now you literally have a PhD to back up everything that you went through dealing with the
yeah,
grief and the loss and everything. And in a way, Reed, not only you got a PhD in the educational standpoint, you actually have a PhD really in life, because in PhD, you could also say you were powering your own higher devotion within yourself. And look at where it got you. You discovered your way through mindfulness, through sound. But I have to ask you this, Ree, like, where did that spark come from as far as just being able to overcome the grief, overcome the loss, and turn those into lessons of opportunity that would lead to the wins that you're currently experiencing right now? Like, where did that spark come from, or turning point rather?
turning point, the spark for that, I think being the oldest. So I'm the oldest. I have a younger brother and sister. They're twins. They'll be 30 years old next month. And so, really, when something like that happens in your life and you are not necessarily in the best environment or the most supportive environment, it's one
Mhm.
of the do what you got to do. And
Yeah.
so, starting to work at 15, all through high school, like I've never, I guess when I'm looking back, I'm like, since high school, like I've never not worked and went to school at the same time since 15. And so I like to say the word resilience, grit, or this resiliency, the term that I would know now, just faith really, or just really seeing like, hey, you gotta want something better. You can't just stay here. And I think I've always been the curious person too, like there has to be something better, like there has to be something
Oh
more,
yeah.
and I'm curious about that. So let me explore, let me go on this journey to try to find that thing or whatever that would be for me. Now I know it. But back then, just really searching, asking questions to myself, God, also a lot of prayer of like, I know this can't be life, because it was
Yeah.
very, very difficult. Later losing my dad in 2020. So now being parentless at 32,
Mhm.
something that I would not have imagined. Like, and so you start to get into this life transition also of like, whoa, like life is life, and then it's been life and for a very long time, but the perspectives start to change. And then you start to, just go about life a lot differently. You move a lot differently. And I have to credit mindfulness for helping me with that. The acceptance piece of mindfulness when we talk about it.
Mhm.
I think even that being a piece that has helped me um, to just power through, to accept the things that I cannot change radically, and to be open to these new experiences, whether they are a challenge or an opportunity. Um, so I would have to say that resiliency,
Mm. I love.
definitely some grit,
Mhm.
finding that in there, faith, and then the power of mindfulness, really just being that other grounding source that has helped me to navigate some of the most difficult times.
Yeah, it's like I could sense that we share like a very, very common bond, Ree, as far as just growing through what we go through,
Yeah,
finding room for improvement, and learning from everything around us, treating the world like it's our own library, as far as always searching for answers, searching for questions for those answers constantly. And at the same time, we go through our own evolution on a regular basis from a
right.
physical, mental, emotional, spiritual standpoint, to where we can be the best version of ourselves, not only just for us, but for the
Mhm.
people around us who love us, care about us, and support us no matter what, through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And ironically enough, it made you basically set the stepping stones to where you were literally bound to rise, kind of like how your business is named, which is kind of interesting, and it's a great segue, as a matter of fact. The term bound to rise, basically, with your overall business in sound healing, and to kind of educate the people a little bit on the HFWB podcast series as far as sound healing. Basically, for those listening, sound healing, it's been around for quite some time. It's an ancient practice. It's uses therapeutic properties of sound and vibration to enhance the physical and the emotional well-being, using instruments like singing bowls, gongs, tuning forks, and even the human voice to create the healing vibrations necessary. And it's like, it speaks into everything that I've been talking about regarding the chakra system within my Wellness Whisperer series I've been doing on my HFWB podcast series. But for those listening to the HFWB podcast series, this particular episode kind of explain the purpose as far as like your overall business bound to rise, for those who are wondering what that is exactly, and kind of give them a little bit of background, a little bit more in details of what I just described on what sound healing can basically do for the individual in that healing process, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Bound to Rise is about 15 years old as well. It actually started out as a mentor group that I had formed with my church and back home in Louisiana, trying to get it off the ground. And it was a thing that was incorporated within like youth nights, Bible studies, just to get kids to come together and to just kind of have space to talk about the challenges that we were going through in life. So I was a teacher, again, 15 years old. As I mentioned, my mom passed at 14. So again, being curious and just trying to find the ways of like, how can we do this? And if I'm dealing with this, I know someone else is dealing with it. So very,
right.
You know, when I reflect back and I'm talking through it out loud, I've always been about that collective healing. And so it started out as a mentor group with me being a lot older than some of the kids there, trying to mentor them. Like, we're bound to rise above these obstacles or
I love it.
you know, life circumstances. We're bound to rise beyond that. You know, and I remember like the colors were like blue and purple, and you know, I had folders and things like that. You know, the group dissipated, transitions happened, but there was something, I would say God just was like, you're going to use that someday. And I've had that name since then. And I remember when I opened, my aunt was like, you've had that name for a long time. And I was like, I know. And so for her to even remember, you know, that was something that I have been meditating on in my spirit for years now to come to fruition.
I love it.
You know, it was really beautiful to experience that. And so here we are, several years later. The goal has always been to open my own private practice. Fear, doubt. Can I really do this? I actually had plans of doing this years from now instead of like a few months ago. You know, I remember talking to my business advisor with Delmar, you know, through the Small Business Development Center. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I think I want to do this, but like in the next 2 to 3 years, because I started out with my sweets business, with Rize Sweets and Savories. And from there, we're here. And so she's like, I thought you were, you know, waiting a few years from now. And I was like, I thought so too. So in July, we opened July 26th, and it's been a beautiful journey ever since. The path of the collective healing that I've been wanting to travel on with individuals, realizing that we are stronger together, we're better together. The idea that we heal in community. As an LLC, I found that I would do great with individual sessions, but there was something about the groups, the workshops, when we had more than, you know, just myself and the client, how it was so much more empowering. And so that is really the mission, is to empower individuals through this new approach that I've been on a journey with for myself about the past 3 years.
I love that, Rhea. I love that. Is there like a particular moment or like story that you can recall whenever you were creating this practice and everything, to where it kind of solidified within yourself, man, I might be on to something, because this particular person or this particular group was so impacted by what I was presenting to them, I got to just take off and run with it at this point. Is there a particular moment that you could recall where it kind of solidified you within everything that you're currently doing up to this very point?
Yeah, absolutely. So I also used to do mindfulness makeovers and meditation. And so I had partnered with Dr. Carlene Lynn and Miss Lisa Terrell with Corpus Christi Beauty Bar. And Dr. Lynn is a sales director with Mary Kay. Also my sorority.
I love them both. They're such wonderful people. They really are.
Yeah, and so there we would go to Mrs. Lisa's business, CC Beauty Bar, and I would set up, and there I would do the guided meditation. So when you're talking about healing through voice, that is also part of the practice. Is I use my voice in terms of guided meditation to help. And so once becoming certified in the sound healing, actually bringing this experience there first, and the moment that I recall setting up the goals, introducing this new, technique. They're like, we're so used to your voice and it's so soothing and it always calms us. Like, this is different. The feedback and the response that all the attendees there that night shared with me, I was like, okay, this is the thing. So it began, I began to just kind of continue to think like, okay, I think you can do something with this. And I know you love your counseling, you love, working with clients. This gives you the ability to reach even more people, again, in that collective way, which is what I was doing with the mindfulness makeovers and meditation events as well. That was the collective group of women, all races, coming together for an evening of tea, meditation, learning a new skincare or beauty routine, and the empowerment that you would see come out of those gatherings. And we have been doing that for about 7 months or so. Each month we would do that. And so we've taken a break for the summer, and I do anticipate us resuming those, again soon. But going back to that particular night, that was the moment that I recall being like, okay, because the things that were shared there from the experience, seeing individuals who were there actually kind of snore a little bit and actually get a deep type of relaxation state happening for their body, let me know that I was on the right track with what I was doing, or at the time was hoping to do. And even having someone share, like, I felt like I wanted to cry, because I'll talk about that too. It can bring up emotions, it can bring up feelings and thoughts and memories, and it can be an emotional process when you go through a sound bath. And so this particular person, I just recall her saying, like, there was a moment that I felt like I wanted to cry, but I didn't. And then I woke up, or, we kind of came back and became more aware, and my back was hurting, and I started to talk about energy and how those tears were the energy that you were needing to release, but since you didn't let them go, they transferred to your back. And so being able to just, talk with her through that, I think this whole journey here is really something that I just love to share with people, and I love to see how, they really engage in their healing process through this. It's really beautiful to see it.
It is because what you're doing, Ree, you're taking basically your overall faith that you've described thus far, and you're basically kind of converting it into a little bit of a frequency. Because I look at it like this. God is basically three things at the end of the day. Obviously, God is spirit, as they talk about in the book of John and the Bible, of course. God is also love, most importantly. And at the same time, God is also frequency to a certain extent, because when you tap into like all these different like chakra systems and certain frequencies, it's like you can literally feel the frequency of God at times within within basically like your third eye chakra or the crown chakra, especially. You can literally tap into it and you can feel like you're like experiencing bits and pieces of heaven to a certain extent, where it's very, very powerful. And again, it can basically like transform like your overall spiritual aspects, emotional aspects, and of course the physical aspects. if you had to pick like a certain chakra that kind of resonates with you personally, which chakra would that be for you personally?
Cool.
If you had to choose, because for me, I would say personally, I can relate a lot to like the heart chakra the most, because that's where it kind of it realizes, you know, the power of love, the power of understanding, the power of empathy, and the power of compassion within yourself,
Yeah.
because you have to love yourself before you love other
Yeah.
people, and vice versa. How would you say, what is your kind of, what would you say the chakra you could relate to the most whenever you tap into each of them?
Yeah, it's usually hard for me. I'm not even going to lie. So when I first got into this, before I even knew what I was doing with the crystal singing bowl, like I have it here on my little stand. That was the first one that I purchased for myself, and I just again was curious about sound
Hmm.
healing. That was the first one that I bought. Um, it was just like heart chakra, and I was like, "Yep." And I read a little bit about it, and I'm yet growing in that area too.
Yeah.
And so I'm growing there too, learning more about the chakra system and just everything that it encompasses. And so heart chakra for me too, I'm like, oh, that would make sense, And so when I am feeling stuck or feeling like, things are just a bit heavy, I'll play it. And almost immediately, I do feel like the emotional release that would need to happen. So
Yes.
I want to cry,
Yes.
and just give myself that time. So heart chakra for me too, someone who I identify with myself as being, compassionate, empathetic, all the counselor traits, but just really when I'm knowing myself, like knowing me at the core of myself, empathetic, caring about other people, putting other people first. A lot of, you know, my whole life's work has been about that service to others.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so it would make sense why, like, one of my favorite quotes is by Gandhi that says the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. And I think about
Mm.
that volunteer. Like, I've
Yep.
always been the helper, the giver, the person that people can come to, and I can hold that space for you. Before I even knew anything about counseling and what that was, just even back then, like years ago, me being the person that people would come to with problems or questions or just, needing somebody to hear them out. And so, heart chakra, yes, definitely for me, um,
Yeah.
is the one that resonates the most. And I also like root too because it's that foundation, it's the grounding, it's where things
Yes.
are connected. And so I feel like if I'm off of like root source, then it's like, all right, let's ground ourselves, So I do like let's
Yeah.
go.
Ground ourselves, realize how safe we are, and at the same time, how much we belong to the world to a certain degree. Because I feel like you could tap into each chakra and you could find a little bit more of yourself within each chakra. I mean, myself personally, I'm always like, I always meditate the basically every single chakra at least twice a week.
Yeah,
At least every single chakra I meditate to at least twice a week, and whether it's in the morning, whether it's in the evening. Like for instance, earlier this morning I basically tapped into the sacral chakra just so I can be more in tune with my feelings and my emotions, because things were a little bit chaotic. So it's like, okay, let me get in tune with how I'm feeling about this, how I'm reacting to this. Let me release myself from this, and just at the end of the day realize, you know, my overall sense of well-being, tapping into my overall creativity, my passion, and just becoming a little bit more emotionally balanced, more so than anything. And I feel like
yeah,
that's one thing that we can basically take away from the chakra system, is that sense of balance more so than anything, as far as just again that sense of balance in the physical realm, the emotional realm, the mental realm, the spiritual realm, which kind of leads me to the next question I was about to ask you, Ree, as far as what would you tell someone who you as far as if you could sense there a little bit of imbalance within their life, within the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual realm, what would be three key pieces of advice you would tell someone to just get their balance back in order, as far as those four corners I just described, for those listening to the HFWB podcast series?
yeah. So I have three things that I'll say that I do for myself that help me, and so maybe this is helpful.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
One is intention setting. Before I knew what that was like, oh, how do I want to start my day? How do I want to move about my day? So before even like feet touching the ground in the morning, it's like, what type of day do I want to have? Set the intention for the day.
I
And
love
then
that.
the other piece is like taking deep breaths. It sounds cliche, but really breathing, you would be surprised
Awesome.
what a deep breath or two could do for you in a moment of high stress, chaos. And I think about, us as productive people, we're always on the go. We're productive. We're always doing something. There's meetings, there's, you know, agendas that we are working to complete, to-do list. And so taking deep breaths. And then I also say making time for intentional isolation or moments of stillness. Those are sort of, I guess, four things then. So the intentional isolation, that is really big for me. I've learned that as much as I am a people person, I love people, I love to help. I, again, am very empathic and compassionate and all those things. But I also realize that's energy that I'm giving. And so sometimes I can give so much of myself. I'm like, man, I'm so drained. I need
Mhm.
a moment. I need that day or two, maybe a week, honestly, to just intentionally please let me come inside, and that's the moment where I'm just kind of in, So I'm like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, I've been in. Like, I've been, doing my meditation. I've been, resting, right?
Yeah.
Intentionally. It's on purpose. It's very purposeful when I do that. It's not that like, hey, something's off. Like, it's very purposeful and intentional. And then with the moment of stillness, really finding time in the day to just be still for a minute. That can be paired with the deep breathing. When I was at the university, there was a bench on campus where I knew I would have 12 to 1, at least most days, for a lunch break, where I would go and get that moment of stillness to just sit on the bench, take some deep breaths, look at the water that was, there was a view of the water that was ahead of me. And so practicing that intentional moment there too, of just to be still, to let your mind be quiet, and to just notice, And so those are the four things that I would say for someone seeking. I think you asked about groundedness, and just seeking that. That's what I would offer. Setting your
No, those are fantastic things to offer, and those are things I kind of practice too myself to a certain degree. You have to like set your intention for the day as far as those positive intentions. You have to take a moment to step back and breathe in and out more so than anything. And honestly, you do have to have days to where you have to be by yourself in the moment of stillness and all those things, because as much as I can be a people person myself
Mhm.
too, there are days where moments where I just don't feel like being bothered. And it's like, it's not because something is off. It's just that I need a moment to rest, renew myself, and recharge myself. That way I can come back around stronger than ever. That's what I like myself personally. I credit me fasting as far as once a week towards doing
Yeah.
exactly that. So I feel like that's something that I feel like everyone should definitely like have a part of their life. That way they can continue to evolve for the greater good going forward for not only themselves, but for the people that matter to them the most. So I totally agree with all those things. And everyone who's listening to this particular episode of the HFWB podcast series, they need to rewind everything that Reed just said, because I feel like that will be such a huge game changer as we finish out the last quarter of 2024, going into 2025 and beyond, more so than anything. Now, Ree, we're basically at the point where I ask people a certain list of questions, whoever comes onto the podcast, just so that people can know you a little bit more in details. So the first question I have is this: what is the first thing you do or think of every single day that you wake up every single morning?
So the first thing I do, honestly, I thank God first. And then I go into, okay, thank God for this day. What's on my to-do list? Um, and so it's like I give thanks to God, and then it's like, what's on my to-do list? What am I going to do today? And then it's prioritizing. Are these the things that I must do? Can they wait until the next day? Just so that I can create balance and starting a new position working from home. That's been more like of what I've been doing, because it's different. It's a change of pace, and so really checking in with myself too. So thank God. What's on my list? How am I feeling? Checking in with myself, like maybe this list just doesn't get done today because I don't feel
Yeah.
like I have that capacity. So yeah, thank God, checking in with myself, checking in with, the task of the day, because, I'm working. So there's what do I need to do today? What do I get to do today?
Got
Going
you.
from there.
Got you. Got you. We hear this all the time, Ree, as far as health is wealth. You can't have one without the other. They're basically two sides of the coin. In your personal definition, what does health and wealth mean for you, Ree?
Yeah, I feel like if I have health, I have wealth because I'm able to do the things that I need to do to bring about wealth, whether that is wealth in connection, wealth in, not just financial, gain, but wealth in my ability to be able to get up, tie my shoes, make my own breakfast.
Exactly.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I see it in that, health in mind. How strong is my mind? It's
Yes.
that intentional isolation that I need to renew myself, to rejuvenate. Am I getting crispy or burnt out? Right. So I think health is wealth. That's how I would define it. And not just from financial, but I see it as a mind, body, spirit. Um, Type of approach to how we live our life. And if we are healthy, we have wealth, and that's the ability to move our being. That's our ability to engage in the things that bring us joy. That's our ability to just be and to engage in life as the way that we want to, without any restrictions, limitations, um, and just having that freedom to be able to do that. That's wealth for me to do what I
No,
want.
you described it very well, Ree, and that's basically everything that I've been explaining to people through health, fitness, wealth, business for the last 2 years. So you said it perfectly, to be quite honest. Now, you mentioned the importance of community and everything, and I usually ask people this all the time. What is, when you think of the word community, Ree, what's the first thing that comes to mind for yourself?
I just see collective, right? When I see it, I just see people. And I talk about this a lot, regardless of race, gender, sexuality, spirituality, religion, any of that. I just see people. And I see us together being able to come together and talk about a common goal. For me, it's, the healing journey. And so we are on this journey collectively towards healing. We're ever healing. I don't think we will ever be healed because life is going to keep lifing. But
Yeah.
I see community as, you know, your network. I see it as you know, your village, and it's somewhere
Mm,
you go. You have your people that you can go to
mhm.
that are going to support you, that are going to uplift you, that are going to recognize, like, hey, she's been off a little bit. Let me check in with her because I know that's not like Ree. Maybe she's dealing with something.
Yeah.
Let me check in. Let me check in with my sister. Let me check in with my friend. She's not like her usual self. Let me see how she's doing. So I see community as having that collective space where people are seen, heard, valued, supported, and they know that, like, if I go to you, I'm like, hey, Cliff, like, listen, dude, like, there's been some things going on. Like, I know that I would have that space to share non-judgmentally. It will be a safe space to let you know what was going on. And so I see that in community. It's safety also. It's safety to be able to express yourself, to share, and to know that you're going to get that support. You're going to have a true safety net when you are in that community, when you are connected to that village, when you're connected to your people. You're going to know that those are your people. And that's what I see community as: support, safety, and the network, that village where you can go and get what you need without judgment.
It's all about the law of attraction at the end of the day. Like attracts like, whether it's positive, whether it's negative, and you just described it to the T, Gree. That's for sure on that. So now we're going to make a little bit of a pivot. As we pivot to a segment, I like to do either or, which one you would pick as far as out of the two options. Of course,
Okay.
first one is this, Ree. Would you rather choose loyalty or respect?
I would choose respect because if I respect you, loyalty comes with that.
Very well said. Very well said. Would you rather live in space or live in the ocean?
This is going to be funny. I do not know how to swim, but I love the water, and I would rather live in the ocean. I think it's just so mysterious, and water is so powerful, yet so calming. And that's another way that I ground myself is just to be near the water. And so, first, let me learn how to swim, and I could live there. It would be amazing.
No, I'm right there with you on that, to be quite honest, Ree. Would you rather be famous and poor or anonymous and rich?
Hmm. Famous and poor, anonymous and rich. I'll go anonymous and rich.
Would you rather have unlimited free meals at your favorite restaurant or unlimited first class tickets as far as traveling goes?
Let's do the unlimited first class tickets. I like to travel.
Right, right. Would you rather sing to every song or dance to every song?
I will sing, even though most times I am highly off key and off the notes and all that stuff. I will sing.
How about this, Ree? Picture this scenario, right? You're on a deserted island, you're trapped on this island, but you have the option to listen to five of your favorite music artists of all time. It can be their whole entire catalog, it doesn't matter what genre of music it is. Who are those five artists?
Ooh, okay, Lizzo. Let's see, Jasmine Sullivan. I like Lettucey. Let's see who else. India Arie.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go with the old school that I really like, Shaka Khan.
Can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with that. What is your favorite go to meal, Ree?
You know, it's almost that season for me, gumbo. I have to say it.
Mm.
Louisiana, like that's really like a favorite. So I can't wait to make myself some of that once it cools off a little bit.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with gumbo. It's a southern thing. It really is. Now, you did mention that you do love to travel, Ree. Where is the favorite place that you have traveled to thus far, and where's the place you would like to travel to that you've never been to before?
Okay, so far I really like DC for some reason. Um, just something about the culture there, the energy. I've had a chance to go a few times, and there's always something that I'm like, ooh, I like it here. So DC, and then really, I'm trying to go out of the country. Um, if I could go anywhere, just to see Paris, and I think that's just a childhood fantasy of just like I want to see Paris, and then being in
And
the
then plus they had the Olympics there recently, so
yeah, and like being in French club and like taking French since like fourth grade through high school, so it's kind of like I just want to go see like, can I speak French still, or if I hear some of it, will I know it? Um, and I admire the Eiffel Tower. I think it's a beautiful sculpture, and really just to see more like architecture. Um,
mm, got it.
yeah,
And you can't go wrong with DC either. I've been to DC twice myself, and it's just something about
yeah.
the fast paced culture and everything. It's definitely one of my new favorite places to visit, so I can definitely relate to that as well. Whenever you're not doing all the stuff that you're doing on a regular basis, Ree, what are some of your favorite hobbies that you like to do that many people may not know you like to do?
I like to cook. Probably would know that though. I like to go to the beach. I actually like going for drives downtown, just taking a drive down Ocean and listening to music, um, windows down, just listening to music, taking a cruise. Um, I actually like to rest and do nothing. So it's kind of chilling inside. I like to be in the house. So most days I'm kind of in. I don't have to go out. And then occasionally just a little shopping every now and then. I'm not too big on it, but buying a few things here and there every now and then. I used to be, but I'm very grateful that I've learned to budget and manage. Like I don't always need to buy something. So
Yeah, yeah.
now I'm at a every now and then kind of a shopping basis now, as opposed to always needing to do it.
You're in control, Reed. You have that balance in order. And that's all that matters. That's for sure. Here's my last question for you. If you have the opportunity to go back in time and talk to yourself 10 years ago, what would you tell yourself? And at the same time, Reed, based on your current journey that you're on, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
Yeah, so I would go back 10 years and really hug her. Um, and look her in the eyes and say, like, you are so strong, you're capable, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're smart, you're talented, and your
Words
gifts,
of encouragement.
yes, your gifts in this world will make room for you. And there's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be afraid of. At the end of the day, I think fear really kind of traps us or freezes the growth and the progress we can make for ourselves. So there's really nothing to be afraid of. Like I think had I, not been afraid of so many things, like, there's that question you wonder where would you be had I not been afraid. So be fearless in pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. Don't be afraid to chase your goals and your dreams. Um, and just love on her and just be so encouraging and empowering towards her. And then 10 years from now, I do imagine myself continuing to do this work. I imagine myself with more certifications. I want to, go deeper into this work. Actually, I'm looking to go level 2 certification within the sound healing realm by the end of the year. So to achieve another certification, continuing to work on my mindfulness certifications. The ultimate goal would be to be a meditation teacher at some point throughout my career. I know that's a long journey towards that. But in 10 years, I do believe a lot has happened in 7 years, 8 years that I've been here. So in 10 years, I would imagine that, so much more can happen. So achieving that goal as well. Um, and just being a wellness facilitator, helping people heal, as I'm also on my own healing journey. Again, this is done together, it's done collectively in community. So I too am healing as I'm working with every person who comes to sound bath meditation. I let them know that, like, I'm not perfect. Please see me as someone who is also on a journey. And I'm, yet striving towards, the best version of myself too. And so, I just make it plain and clear like that, um, that we're all on the same path together. Their journeys, are different from mine. However, when we are together, I think it's a lot more powerful to share your stories, not in solitude, but in community. Let your voices be heard. So even like being able to have this opportunity today to share, I think, that's one of the things that I can see, or several of the things rather, that I can see happening.
Well said. I love it. And at the end of the day, we're resting at the end, not in the middle, because there's so much more growth, so much more learning, so much more evolution to experience. So we might as well just enjoy the journey and enjoy the stepping stones along the way, because that's what makes this world and universe and life that we live more unique by the day. That's what I could honestly say in regards to everything that you just said, for sure. So, Reed, tell the people where they can get in contact with you as far as social media. How can they get in contact with you in regards to your practice? Let us know if you have any kind of special events coming up. Now's the time to do it, Reed.
Okay, yes. So you can follow me on Instagram at Dr. Bound to Rize LLC. You can also follow me or like my Facebook page, Dr. Bound to Rize LLC. My website will be launching very soon, so I will be able to share that with you here in a little bit. I do have some amazing events coming up, lots of collaborations. So starting on the 17th, which is next week, I will have a sound bath meditation that I'll be doing at Gill's Garden off of Airline. So I think it's Gill's Gardening and Landscaping Company. So it'll be a really great event there. I'll do a meditation out in their garden area. So if you want to come to that, marketing will be going out soon for that. Also going into the next week, I have Soulful Soundscapes. So I'm partnering with Yoko. She is a hypnotist, a breathwork facilitator at the Texas Museum of Asian Cultures on October 22nd. So we'll be doing a hypno sound bath for inner peace there at the Asian Museum. I want to say that's going to be at 6 o'clock. And then within that same week, I'm also partnering with Rochelle Lowry with Lemon Box Beauty. We are doing a mindful creations rest shop where we're going to do your DIY or do it yourself body scrubs partnered with a sound bath meditation. So that'll be October 24th. I think that's a Wednesday or a Thursday. I'm looking at my dates. October 24th. And then closing out the week, it'll be Self Care Sunday, October 27th. It'll be a guided journaling and sound bath meditation down at Oleander Point. So, those of you who've been coming out by the water with me, we're going to do a little something different. It's going to be ebb and flow. That's the name of it. So, we're going to ebb and flow with the waves. We're going to do some guided journaling. I have some prompts that I've really been meditating on for you all to journal about, and then indulge in the sound bath meditation. So those are some of the events coming up, and kind of going into November, a little bit of a plug. I will be celebrating my birthday at the Annex with Vino Vibrations, and so stay tuned for that. Details will be coming soon. To
You
have
have
a wine with me, and we'll do some sound bath meditation at the Annex.
I love the activity. I love the productivity behind everything that you're doing, Ree. And you're just showing that the power of collaboration will allow you to stay on top of your game and on top of your skill and on top of your gift and on top of your talent. And that's the only way we can grow and stand strong together and stay united as a community. So I love all the work that you're doing, Ree. And by the time this episode does come out, for those who are listening to this at a later note, basically know that Ree is out here working in the community on a regular basis. She's moving, she's shaking, and she's healing people one day at a time, one step at a time. And believe me, there's going to be a couple things in the works as well between the both of us as well. So stay tuned for that. But with that being said, Ree, I want to thank you for everything that you're doing. I really admire it. And at the same time, I want to thank you for making time out of your productive schedule to simply bless us with an appearance on the HFWB podcast series. I'm truly honored, my friend.
Thank you. And I do want to let you all know I'm located at 5402 South Staple Street, Suite 109 for the physical location. I also have individual, group, and couple sessions. And so that's just a little bit more information about what I do as well.
No, but y'all definitely need to go check out Ree's space. Go support Bound to Rise LLC, because trust me, she's only going to continue to rise one day at a time, one step at a time. She's already doing so much, and she's just barely getting started. The potential is crazy, y'all. I'm telling you. But with that being said, Ree, I want to thank you again for, of course, being a guest on the HFWB podcast series. And for everyone listening, of course, this is yours truly, Clifton Pope, your wonderful host, encouraging everyone to stay healthy, wealthy, and blessed. And until next time, peace, love, and positive vibrations. What's going on, everybody? It's yours truly, Clifton Pope, with Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, and you're tuned into a very special edition of the HFWB podcast series, and it's being brought to you by my new book that just released on Amazon.com, October 30th, 2024, Consistency with a Sense of Urgency. And this is basically the trilogy to my first two self-help books, What's Wealth Without Work and A Dollar and a Vision, which are both also on Amazon as we speak. And basically, Consistency with a Sense of Urgency is all about how to overcome the lack of consistency and the truth on what is stopping you from putting in the work to create your own formula to success. We've all been there before, which is why I'm trying to help expose the cracks on where everyone is at when it comes to people who are having hard times staying the course. Consistency with a Sense of Urgency. This book is for those who truly want to stay after it in what they love and what they stand for, by cracking the code on how to remain ready by staying steady so you can even out the odds against you, right? This book will break down how to decide what is important and urgent in your own life at this very moment. The sense of urgency is on because time is money. Or is it really? Consistency with a sense of urgency will focus on all the information, knowledge, and secrets of yours truly, Clifton Pope, and how you can complete your mission to discover your sense of purpose in the world we live in. Who wouldn't want to do that, right? Which is why I say we are all here for a reason. And consistency with a sense of urgency will help you discover that for anyone who needs a personal guide on how to do so. This is the book for those who are finally ready to quit making excuses and tackle your goals and or to-do list once and for all, so growth, improvement, and evolution can take the course in your world for the greater good. So just like that, y'all need to hop on Amazon.com right here, right now, as we speak. Go order Consistency with a Sense of Urgency, my newest self-help book that I have personally self-published myself. Shout out to Amazon.com for that opportunity. Y'all stop what you're doing. Go buy Consistency with a Sense of Urgency. That way we can continue to remain consistent with a sense of urgency like never before. This is yours truly, Clifton Pope of Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, and I approve this message. And go buy Consistency with a Sense of Urgency right here, right now. Let's make it an Amazon bestseller, a New York's bestseller, because this book is just for you. Let's remain consistent with a sense of urgency, y'all. Stay healthy, wealthy, blessed. Peace and love.